Hey guys, let's get more news from Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Steelers linked to Project QB hyped for edge on Kenny Pickett, not even close. There are several different ways the Pittsburgh Steelers could add quarterbacks this offseason to supplement Kenny Pickett. But based on how the Steelers organization has publicly addressed its situation behind center this offseason, the safest bet is the team considering more calculated, subtle additions rather than blockbuster moves. If that's truly the case, grabbing a quarterback on day 3 of the draft is a possibility. While making an appearance on 93.7 The Fan on February 20, CBS Sports' Ryan Wilson discussed that possibility and connected the Steelers to South Carolina quarterback Spencer Rattler. "I look at a guy like Spencer Rattler," Wilson said on 93.7 The Fan. "Rattler has better physical tools than Kenny Pickett. It's not even close." Rattler completed 68.9% of his passes for 3,186 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions in 2023. He threw for 10,807 yards in 48 college games. Wilson isn't the first to link the Steelers with Rattler. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Ray Fittipaldo suggested Rattler as a potential draft target for the Steelers on February 2. Rattler was a young phenom, throwing for 116 touchdowns on his way to becoming the consensus #1 quarterback in the 2019 recruiting class, Fittipaldo wrote on February 2. 5 years later, after a tumultuous college career, he's clinging to his dream of playing in the NFL. Rattler starred as a redshirt freshman at Oklahoma in 2020. Heading into 2021, analysts hyped him to potentially follow in the footsteps of Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray as a Heisman Trophy candidate. Instead, Oklahoma benched Rattler for Caleb Williams, who is the front-runner to be the #1 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, after 5 games. Rattler then transferred to South Carolina. In 2 college seasons with the Gamecocks, Rattler threw for 37 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. Although he underachieved during his college career, Rattler could attract NFL suitors this spring because of his physical tools. Rattler grades out as an early day 3 prospect in the 2024 NFL Draft, but he could feasibly rise into day 2 range with a good offseason, Pro Football Network's Ian Cummings wrote. He profiles as a developmental QB with backup utility early in his career, but Rattler has the physical tools to potentially grow into a starter. As one would expect from a once highly touted recruit, Rattler has near-elite arm talent, concocted from a blend of hefty arm strength and diverse angle freedom. He's a smooth off-platform thrower but also a sound mechanical QB inside the pocket, with good baseline accuracy. If the Steelers re-sign Mason Rudolph, as they have expressed a desire to do, drafting Rattler would make a lot of sense. Should Rudolph return, he would compete with Pickett for the starting job in 2024. Regardless of the competition's outcome, Pickett and Rudolph would be Pittsburgh's top 2 quarterbacks. As the #3 signal caller, Rattler would offer long-term upside. Sitting behind Pickett and Rudolph, the Steelers could develop the mental side of Rattler's game, hoping to one day pair it with his physical tools. This strategy could conceivably also work with a different quarterback such as Ryan Tannehill or Sam Darnold, competing with Pickett for the starting role. Of course, developing Rattler is easier said than done. It's rare for day 3 quarterbacks to develop into Super Bowl contenders. The most recent example of that would obviously be Brock Purdy, who was a 7th-round pick in 2022. But San Francisco 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan and his excellent offensive staff have played a huge hand in Purdy's development. The Steelers can't offer the same coaching staff support to their quarterbacks. Purdy and Rattler aren't really comparable young quarterbacks either. Purdy excels as San Francisco's starter despite his lack of physical tools because of his quick mental processing. Rattler didn't display elite decision-making in college. The Steelers drafting a quarterback on day 3 could certainly be on the table. Whether it's Rattler likely depends how the draft board unfolds in April. Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback rumor is embarrassing for the franchise. The Pittsburgh Steelers have become the best team in the NFL at reaching 9 wins, making the playoffs, and losing in the first round. A recent report regarding their QB situation might keep them in that spot. Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette had some very troubling things to say about the Steelers and their QB situation, which has been in flux ever since Ben Roethlisberger retired. In fact, there appears to be some internal division that maybe Mason Rudolph should be the starter after the way he finished the 2023 season, winning the final 3 regular season games to gain entry to the playoffs. In any event, the Steelers are not interested in bringing in a quarterback who wants to be a starter. That would include Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins, and probably even Russell Wilson, who has a connection with the Steelers. They are committed to giving Pickett a 3rd season to see if he is the guy to do more than just win a playoff game, something they haven't done in a franchise record 7 years. I mean, what are the Steelers doing here? So, not only is there reportedly division within the team regarding who should start for the team, but they also apparently have no interest in bringing in an outsider who could be the starter. Mitchell Trubisky is a free agent, and Mason Rudolph is set to hit the open market in 2024 as well. Right now, the Steelers might be left with Kenny Pickett if they do not re-sign Rudolph. And if Dulac's report is true, the Steelers aren't prepared to bring in a potential starter. It's no secret that the Steelers' offense has been brutally bad for a few years now, and their QB carousel is a big reason for that. Kenny Pickett has gone 14-10 as a starter with the team since being drafted in 2022. He's thrown 13 touchdowns against 13 interceptions and has objectively been awful. The Steelers have won 14 of Pickett's 24 starts in spite of him. Earlier this offseason, they hired Arthur Smith to be their new offensive coordinator. Smith just served as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons for 3 seasons. The Falcons went 21-30 during Smith's tenure, going 7-10 each year. There really isn't much to like at all with the Steelers' offense, besides George Pickens. And I am very, very confused as to why the Steelers don't have interest in bringing in an outsider who could be the starter. What exactly are they waiting for with Kenny Pickett? I have a theory that the team drafted Pickett because he played his college football at the University of Pittsburgh. He was not a first-round prospect and might not even be a backup QB at this point. If the Steelers were serious and genuine about turning their franchise around, they'd have their eyes on a QB in the 2024 NFL Draft. And heck, there could be multiple viable starters available in free agency. Kirk Cousins is set to be a free agent. The Denver Broncos could very well cut Russell Wilson, and Arthur Smith could reunite with Ryan Tannehill when he hits the open market. Sticking with Kenny Pickett would keep the Steelers circling the drain. Steelers signing Pro Bowl QB? The Pittsburgh Steelers are now being linked to 2 new quarterbacks, and the belief for one is that it's already a done deal he's signing with the team. At this point, every option imaginable has been tossed out for the Steelers. Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, Gardner Minshew, you name them, they've been put on Pittsburgh's radar. Really, all options except for Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. Apparently, these next 2 have strong chances, though. According to a former Steelers rival and current podcast host, Russell Wilson is a done deal in Pittsburgh. At least that's what a little birdie said. And for the second one, well, one NFL analyst believes it makes a lot of sense for him to end up as Pickett's backup and could even become the starter for the Steelers. Here's the thing, though, he's suspended for the first 2 games of the season. One of the 2 options is more believable than the next. One of the 2 may get the Steelers over the hump. And maybe, one of these 2 ends up in Pittsburgh. Make sure you bookmark all Steelers for the latest news, exclusive interviews, film breakdowns, and so much more. And you fan, what do you think of the Russell Wilson situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.